It is Friday, the 25th of April, 2025. My name is Pigeon Rose, and this is my song of the day. Here we are, once again, for the final time, in fact, talking about Elbow. My favorite band, as I've mentioned many times. This is going to be my final episode about an Elbow song. And, I was looking at my list of Elbow songs that I'd left, and there's a bunch that I would love to have talked about. But I felt like doing this one was a given, because it's a big fan favorite, and they do it at, every live show. So I'm intimately familiar with this song, is what I'm saying. And I thought it would make sense to talk about it. That song is Lippy Kids from the album Build a Rocket Boys. In fact, it is the song that gives the album its title. We'll be discussing that after we listen to the song. This song was one of the singles. It was the third single. And like I said, it's a big fan favorite. I'm going to look it up on Setlist FM now, but I would not be shocked if I've heard it at every concert since the Build a Rocket Boys tour, which was the second concert I saw them at. Where's the thing where I can view by song? Song stats. Lippy Kids, 6. I've seen Elbow 8 times. What was the other time they didn't play it? 2011, 2017. They didn't play it in 2014? That's really strange. Huh. Well, there you go. Suppose Takeoff and Landing of Everything had a lot of long songs. That's so weird, though, they didn't play it, the 2014 concert. Or is the 2014 concert just not filled in? Because it's not saying they played... It's saying they didn't play Grounds for Divorce there, and I know that's a lie, because they play Grounds for Divorce at every fucking concert. Oh, no one's filled up in the set list. That's really annoying. Well, anyway, I'm pretty sure I have seen it at every single one of their concerts, except for the first one. Anyway, let's go listen to the song now, and then come back in a few minutes and talk about it. And that was Lippy Kids by Elbow. So this song is about watching teenagers on the corner and kind of having this nostalgia for youth. You're kind of watching teenagers being rowdy and a bit silly. I'm thinking back to when you were like that, There's a specific quote I have from an interview with Guy Garvey with the magazine Q, where he says that the song is in defense of the British teenager, victim to, as Garvey put it, the anti-hoodie shit that goes on in the media. The thought that if you hang around on a street corner, you're a criminal, which I think is a really interesting kind of message to talk about in the song, like the ostracization and the demonization of teenagers just because they're hanging out in street corners and wearing hoodies. It's like, we were all like this once. I don't know why you don't understand that. That's kind of the message of the song. One thing I will say as well before we get into the lyrics, musically it's quite sparse. It's got that do 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 do. When they play it live, Craig puts I think he puts tape on the key and sets it on a delay, so it just keeps repeating that note. But there's also notably the call and response bit, and when they do it live, Guy will whistle the first bit into the microphone and then point the microphone at the audience. The audience goes back. But you can tell who has never been to an Elbow concert before or who doesn't know the song, because people will correctly do the response because they know the song and they know what they're supposed to be doing. But then there will be people who just whistle anything or cheer or wolf whistle. At the last concert I went, this guy kept going, "I love you, Guy Garvey," during this song, and it was really annoying. Guy kind of gave him a look like, yeah, all right, shut up now. But yeah, the whistle call and response is a nice little quiet, sweet thing in the song. And then live, it becomes a call and response to the audience, and that's cool. But it's just a mess because you go, and it just hear mix of from the crowd, and it's just fucking chaos. Anyway, let's talk about the song. Lippy kids on the corner again. Lippy kids on the corner begin, settling like crows. Though I never perfected that simian stroll, cigarette senate was everything then. Do they know those days are golden? Build a rocket, boys. Build a rocket, boys. One long June, I came down from the trees, and curbstone cool, you were a freshly painted angel, walking on walls, stealing booze and hour-long hungry kisses, and nobody knew me at home anymore. Build a rocket, boys. Build a rocket, boys. Build a rocket, boys. So, Lippy Kids, the titular line. Lippy means someone who talks back. If you're a lippy kid, you're kind of a troublemaker, So Lippy Kids on the corner, again, because that's where they like to hang out. Lippy kids in the corner begin settling like crows. Kind of, you can imagine like a bunch of crows landing in a little area, gathering around a bit of bread on the sidewalk, And that's the image I have in my head, all these like teenagers hanging around like crows. And then, though I never perfected that simian stroll. So, according to someone on Genius, this is a reference to the Mank monkey stroll, particular way that Manchester people like to walk. Now, it could be referencing that, and I wouldn't doubt it because they're very much a band from Manchester. But also, it could just be referring to the confident way the teenagers walk. It could be either. I think it's the more specific reference, though. And And Guy says, I never perfected that simian stroll, kind of implying that he wasn't like one of those teenagers, or he wasn't like quite as swaggery, you know. The cigarette Senate was everything then. Now that immediately brings to mind people standing around in a circle smoking cigarettes and chatting and debating. It's such a great phrase to call that the cigarette Senate. I immediately know what he's talking about. Do they know those days are golden? You know, classic sentiment from an old person to a young person. Do you know what you have in front of you? Do you know what power youth has, you know? And then build a rocket, boys, is a call to action. He's not saying literally build a rocket. He's saying go out and do something. Get off the curb, you know, throw down your cigarettes, go do something with your life. Oh, I love the way it goes. Build a rocket, boys. Build a rocket, boys. Also, a call and response when done live. I mean, he sings both, but the whole crowd does the second, build a rocket, boys, the big loud one, you know. But I just love build a rocket, boys as a phrase for, like, you know, shoot for the moon. Try and achieve what you want to achieve. It is something I've considered getting a tattoo of. And then one long June, I came down from the trees. So one long June, you know, I mean, he's referencing the summer. I came down from the trees, again, making a monkey reference. And curbstone cool, you were a freshly painted angel. I assume he's talking about, like, meeting a young, like a girlfriend when he was younger, you know. You were a freshly painted angel, like she's put on her makeup. He meets her on the curb and she's curbstone cool, you know. Walking on walls, stealing booze and hour-long hungry kisses. I mean, it just sounds like the things that teenagers get up to, you know. I do like stealing booze and hour-long hungry kisses. Hour-long could be hour as in possessive, but also time. It is supposed to be time here, but I do like the kind of double meaning there, you know. And then, and nobody knew me at home anymore is a really interesting lyric to wedge in here. But it's kind of, it's interesting. It's talking about how people change in their teenage years and become very different people, you know. And then we get the repeat of Build a Rocket Boys. Then the next bit, lippy kids in the corner again. Lippy kids in the corner begin settling like crows. And I never affected that simian stroll. No. So it's slightly different here. He doesn't say perfected, he says affected. Like he never faked it. He never affected the simian stroll, right? And then he just goes, no, which I really love. You get the whistle again, you get the chorus again, and then that's the end of the song. Pretty sparse in lyrics, but it's just got such a great mood to it. Really interesting message, great imagery, I mean, that's why I love Guy Garvey's writing. Phrases like, you know, settling like crows, cigarette Senate, build a rocket, boys. He's just got these great phrases in him that perfectly capture the thing he's talking about, you know. And that's going to do it for this episode, and that is a season wrap on a series wrap on Elbow. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit like, hit subscribe, leave a comment down below, tell me what you think, tell other people about this show. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Break it down.
This song is about a problem that I have frequently. Gathering around a bit of bread on the sidewalk, you know. Sidewalk? You've gone fucking native. I'm going to be doing that for days now. One long June.